Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back with another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is Friday, January 12th. We are streaming here. We got a massive influx of people talking earlier on, so we don't really have as much to do on this Friday because I did 3 quests on Wednesday, which is the right way to do things. I can't trade this out, so I need to play minions that cost 5 or more, and I need to defeat 5 dungeon bosses, which that will certainly be fun. Let's go ahead and open these card packs. At some point I probably should sit on card packs until a new expansion, so I have like 100 card packs open instead of 50, but I'm not really willing to lose opportunities to get dust and more cards in day-to-day play. I was given 2 card packs for being a Twitch Prime subscriber, and I didn't even realize it. I just logged in onto my main account one day and a couple days ago, and it said you got 2 more packs added to your account, and I thought, oh, somebody must have given it to me. It turns out that somebody was Twitch. Fine, fair enough. So here are the new cards that we are filling in our collection of classic cards on the Asian account. I switched over to the Asian account. I was playing the European account. So big cards, we need to play 20 of them and beat 5 dungeons, and that'll be fun. See, we're still in a weird position where we have a lot of news, but we probably don't have as much as the chat might need if people are going to talk. Era is back in the chat saying back again. So let me look at, I was already playing some of these Kobolds and Catacombs solo mode, and I think I'm playing a Divine Shield deck, so I want to keep playing that. Not a Murloc deck. I could restore 3. I think I want to take this healing one, but I could take this. Let's take the Justice one. And we're near the end of this run, so I probably would just lose. Coming in cold after a while. The Kobolds and Catacombs single player expansion here wants you to beat a run 8 bosses with all 9 of the characters, and it gives you like a card back or something. It's not really worth your time to do it, but it actually is rather fun to play these because they're quicker experiences. Let's move on back with the news. Apparently there was a human cloning stunt that happened at this year's CES. This is from PC Gamer. CES has kind of long since stopped having much to do with video games, ever since E3 split off of it. But every now and then it might have like a gaming monitor or something. Just to explain for people who may not know, in the single player Kobolds and Catacombs dungeon runs, you get these upgrades. One of my upgrades plays 3 secrets right at the beginning of the game, and it increases, some of them increase your health and some of them decrease or hurt your opponent. Each of the opponents has some crazy things that it's working on too. But even in this later run where he has 40 mana. Let's see. So this cloning experiment, it looks like there's fake human dolls standing in chambers for the CES thing. I assume they're fake human dolls and it's not just hired actors they hired. Oh, and it's based, it was just a Netflix promotion of their show Altered Carbon. So, alright, let's do this. And then do this.
Reporting for duty.
Kill. 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 And then attack. Interesting. So, not very video game related. I've seen trailers for that show, Altered Carbon. The sad thing is that the vast majority of Netflix's creations are pretty bad. The vast majority, I imagine, of all movie and TV creations are pretty bad, but I kind of hold Netflix to a higher standard and would like to hold all TV and movie creators to a higher standard. So Altered Carbon doesn't look that interesting. That being said, I have watched 3 of the 4 seasons of Black Mirror too, and I didn't enjoy any of that. So maybe I'm just really hard to please. I could certainly imagine that to be the case. Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, is coming to PC next month with new features. It was originally on the PS4 in 2016. Wait, no. Final Fantasy 15 was on the PS4 in 2016, and it's finally coming to PC also. This is a slightly hard to follow story because there's 2 games that why does this every time I cast a spell he gets one of these guys again. Oh, that's irritating.
For justice.
So playing Final Fantasy 12 might, I don't know. Honestly, I think for me, as somebody who hasn't played the Final Fantasy games, I just need to play the Final Fantasy 13 games, and that's where I'm at. Is play Final Fantasy 13 and yeah, 13, 13-2, 13 Lightning Returns, those 3 games, and just be done with it. Where I assume 12 is pretty good. I'm looking at these screenshots. The graphics have been upgraded, I think, as much as they're willing to do. I'm not sure what would sell me to play 12, and 15 is the newest one, and 15 seems a little too crazy for me, so. Moving on to the next story. Nintendo has been apparently trying to force this company Colopl, C-O-L-O-P-L, for a year to license certain things. Those agreements broke down, and I'm gonna phrase this in the way that I think Nintendo acted, so I'm editorializing here. So now Nintendo is suing this mobile developer over 5 patents, one of which I believe is just the ability to use a touchscreen and have see whenever your heroes healed. So that switches one over to my side. Good. One of the special technology used to operate a joystick over a touch panel. So the Nintendo DS came with a strap with a piece of plastic that you put on your thumb to touch the touchscreen. That's something that literally didn't deserve a patent in the first place, but the United States patent system and the Japanese patent system, which is kind of just a worse version of the United States patent system, they pretty much approve everything and then let the lawsuits happen and decide who actually deserved the patent in the first place and who didn't. And that's just crazy. And that is the one that's getting reported. So the other 4 patents are probably even more generic and more ridiculous. As much, it has to be said more often, I think. As much as we all have we all have great, like, childhood memories of Nintendo, and we love their games as kids as Nintendo. Nintendo has always been a real scumbag of a company. As a YouTuber, I know that for a fact. They're still claiming a trailer made by Ubisoft for Mario vs. Rabbids. Like, that's a Ubisoft game. Every single thing in that trailer was made by Ubisoft, so Nintendo of Japan has no right to claim it whatsoever. But they still claim it. They still try to take money from it. And it's ridiculous. And they... I mean, what can you really say? Nintendo just has always been a very litigious scumbag company. Not just with YouTubers, but with also everybody else. That's what the Nintendo seal of approval was all about. It was about them suing people and controlling people so that only the games that paid for a license could be on the Nintendo Entertainment System. I mean, imagine if you had to pay Microsoft a license every time you wanted something to run on Windows. That's ridiculous. Let's see. Now Nintendo is suing this company we've never heard of, Colopi, for 39.33 million yen, roughly $352,000, over a strap and a piece of plastic. That is pretty ridiculous. But let's move on. So I only got to 4 victories on this run. That's not terrible. You just start a new run. And we'll start from the beginning here. And this is pretty easy because you either fight a giant rat or a wisp at the beginning. Those are the 2 first couple bosses. And I can pick pretty much anybody I want, so let's go with Druid, since Druid has a tendency to have higher level characters and I need to play characters that have 5 or more mana, cost 5 or more mana. But that's probably not going to happen in this first thing. You start with less cards, excuse me, in this run, and they're just randomly given to you. Let's trade all these. Let's see. One of the Nintendo Direct announcements that's kind of this crazy thing is SNK has come back into the news with SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy, which is all of the, well, not all of the, but some of the most famous SNK girls in the SNK King of Fighters game, I believe, or just SNK fighting games in general, might be better to say it that way. And they're going to be fighting each other, no guys allowed. There was a Vita game similar to this, and so apparently it was somewhat popular. SNK in general is sort of a second tier, just slightly below the Street Fighter games. Very well known, but it's more that the company was known because there were so many variants of King of Fighters, but there was a ton of variants of Street Fighter too. So a lot of variety there. Alright, so this is my 4th turn beating this rat. They only had 10 health. So deal 2 damage here to do that, and then wait for the internet to speed up and hit that. So 4th turn victory, real easy, real quick. That's what makes these Kobold and Catacombs runs so great. Sadly, doing these fights doesn't work for most of the daily quests. So I can now pick a bonus. At the start of your turn, play 3 random secrets. At the start of your turn, draw 2 cards. All your minions have permanent stealth. I will do 3 random secrets because that's equivalent of playing 5 or more attack. Doing a quest is probably not what you want to do right now. These would work for my other goals, so I'm going to take the Jade. We're going to turn this into a Jade Druid deck if we can. Our next enemy has 15 health, so they get stronger. The slight controversy here is how Nintendo of Japan's versus Nintendo of America decided to advertise SNK Heroines. One of the major factors in SNK Heroines is you're going to be able to dress up your characters in a wide variety of costumes. And some of these costumes are bikini-esque and titillizing. And some of them are more fantasy dresses and just standard fighter outfits. So in the Japanese trailer of this, you see several characters in bikini-esque clothes, and they're showing a little bit of cleavage, and none of it's extreme. None of it's anything more than what I'd say TV 14, TV 16. None of it's mature audience only or anything. But in the American one, they changed all those outfits into more conservative clothing. Now, the localizer has since come out and said, because that made the people who are interested in this really afraid, that are we going to get this watered down, censored version in the West, whereas the Japanese version is going to be the real version to play. Remember, this game is being built around the idea that you like those female characters. If you like those female characters, you probably want to be able to present them in a appealing visual light. So if you can't play dress up with them and you wanted to play dress up with them, you probably are going to be missing out a significant amount of what the game had to offer. There's a game that was on the Xbox 360 called Rumble Roses and Rumble Roses XX that had a similar idea, where it was a wrestling game with a bunch of female characters in crazy outfits. That, I mean, if it was just general guys in regular wrestling gear, it would have been a lot more boring for me to play it. Add a menu with 5 or more attack. Nope. Play this. Take charge and win. So, fortunately, I think now that that controversy has been dealt with in just like 2 days, we're in a better place to move forward with this game and just see if it's a decent fighting game. Street Fighter V with its arcade edition does have this level of some things are just not working as well as they should, and having some competition in the fighting world wouldn't be a terrible thing. The Vita game was called SNK Gals Fighter, and it wasn't for the Vita, I'm sorry, it was for the, is that the 3DO or the Dreamcast?
Malfurion versus Graves.
No, it was for the Neo Geo Pocket Color. Yeah, I gotta.
I must protect.
So that's a really old game.
I claim these treasures for the light.
There's a game called Rad Rogers for the PS4 and Xbox One that launches alongside a PC update on February 21st. It's a 90s era platformer. Do we have a trailer that we can watch it? Rad Rogers. He kind of looks like he might be a Commander Keen style clone type game. It's a THQ Nordic game, and if you've been following my channel, you've heard a lot about THQ Nordic putting out a lot of games. They're re-releasing a lot of the original THQ games, and they're also working towards releasing Darksiders 3, which I'm very excited about. Alright, so far looking at this trailer, Rad Rogers is this little boy that wakes up in a fantasy world and then proceeds to use a gun to blow away everything in front of him. And he's got this like robot on his back called Dusty, and there's a lot of platforming, and it seems to be pretty fast action. I just played Strider, which was a side-scrolling platformer, and boy was that game slow. This is Strider 2014 reboot. It's like really slow for a game, and I have no idea why that was the case. This looks playable, but this actually looks like it might be a little hard for me too, so I'm interested on this. This one's gonna go on my wish list, but I may have to play it on easy, and I may struggle with it because of just how fast paced. Now, for true platformer fans, I imagine this is everything you'd want to ever hear. And the fact that it has PS4 and Xbox One support means it's going to have controller support, which is also very important. Like, I personally just don't want to play a game if it doesn't have full controller support. Let's go ahead and kill this guy.
Job's done.
Yeah, because I'm just not that good as far as keyboard and mouse games. I'll play a point and click adventure with a keyboard and mouse, but if I'm playing anything action oriented, I don't want that in my life.
Golems are a girl's best friend.
Well, this should get me victory. The Monster Hunter World producer says it will not have loot boxes. It's sad that we've gotten to a point in the world where that is a factor, that you have to directly ask for whether this game is going to have loot boxes. Let's see, which of these cards do I want? I'm going to draw 3 cards for 3 mana, reduce their cost to 0. Draw 2 cards. This. I don't think I have any Jade cards to play. So I'm going to take Stomp. Moving on. The one thing that's still holding me back with Monster Hunter World is there going to be a story in that game? Is there a single player experience that's less than 250 hours that I can play and kind of run through and have my fill of my first experience in Monster Hunter? I heard that there's like a Vita game called Monster Hunter Stories. Maybe it's not Vita. It could be some other console. Maybe a cell phone game even. That was very story based, and you should probably play that if you want to get into Monster Hunter before then. But I don't think I would want to do that. I would say let's just all cross our fingers and hope Monster Hunter World has some kind of story worth playing. And that is the thing that will keep me motivated to run around and hunt monsters and get their carcasses and use their parts to build weapons and improve armor, which is what I think you do there. There's this rock paper shotgun article called "Artificial Life Finds a Way: The Legacy of Creatures," and it has a picture of some game I don't recognize, and that picture certainly caught my attention, but unless the game is directly called Creatures, and I'm just not getting that. Like,
I give thanks to those that came before.
Like, I don't even know what this article is about. Yeah, apparently there's this series called Creatures I've never even heard of. So I'm gonna have to go look up what this game is. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. A lot of articles that come on Rock Paper Shotgun, PC Gamer is the worst about it though, and Your Gamer, all being the same parent company, they all seem to write articles that half the time feel like they're advertisements for some game. Speaking of PC Gamer, here's 5 annoying things that Rocket League players still do years later. This is more of a BuzzFeed article than anything. Let's see, number 1. Teammates not going for the ball at kickoff when they're closest to it. Well, geez, what are they doing then? Draw 2 cards, making cost 2 less. Let's try that. Number 2, being bad in the air. So players just being bad. Number 3, congratulating their own goals, passes because you didn't. Alright, that's just rude. Not skipping replays, that's annoying. So the whole team has to skip replays. Going off to fetch boosts from miles away when the ball and all opposing players are on the opponent's side. Maybe one of these days I'll get around to playing Rocket League. It's just one of those games that suffers from the fact that you need to play with other people.
Try one.
If that wasn't the case, I probably would have played Rocket League earlier by now. As part of the Nintendo Direct, Dark Souls Remastered is coming out for the Switch and the PC, and everybody get really happy about that and enjoy that happy feeling, all you Dark Souls fans, for the next 3 seconds, because in an update there's not going to be any update, and you're not getting the you're not going to get a remastered version update for free. Let's see. The update now on PC Gamer says they haven't officially announced anything on the subject of a discount. The original story was that there will be no discount. At a certain level, I kind of want to say, in this case, they have a valid reason to not charge a discount, but that's only really going to benefit me, who bought Dark Souls on the Xbox 360 a long time ago, and then never bought it on PC. Any loyal fan is gonna be punished with the fact that they're gonna have to buy the game a second time at full price if they want the remastered version. But I think most Dark Souls fans would be okay with that. I honestly don't think they'll mind, because the love for Dark Souls amongst Dark Souls fans is very high. However, you will have to look at the remaster now as a $60+ remaster re-release. So if it's slight tweaks to the textures and slight bug fixes, and it doesn't feel like it's a major overhaul, people will be disappointed in that on top of the price. Which, this is Bandai Namco, so I heavily suspect it will be just a slight tweak and slight overhaul. Let's see.
Feel nature's wrath.
So this is one of the things we'll have to wait and see. It is also worth remembering that Demon Souls servers, and I believe Dark Souls servers, were shut down not too long ago. So as soon as they shut down the online server functionality of the original Dark Souls, they're coming out with a remaster. That's just poor form. Dark Souls Remastered is due on the PC May 25th, 2018. So I guess you have a year. Nope, wait. We are in 2018, come to think of it. You have a couple of months to think about it.
Warriors of the frozen wastes.
Let's see. We'll hit this. And hit that.
Feel nature's wrath.
There's that one. Attack here.
Job's done.
This puts me in a weird position because I really don't have time to play Dark Souls. But people are gonna ask. Almost certainly people are gonna go, hey, why don't you play Dark Souls Remastered? And if somebody really, really hated me, they would buy me Dark Souls Remastered, and then I would feel obliged to actually play it and drive myself crazy. But in all honesty, there is a very high chance that I would not get to the end of Dark Souls. I didn't get to the end of Dark Souls the first time I played it. I got kind of to the snake pass trap section, I think is where I got. There we go, victory. And then I just kept dying too much.
My ancestors.
There's some, particularly the first Dark Souls, there's some problems with that game that I would prefer an easy mode. Maybe if I was to play it, I could find like a mod that did like a boss rush mode or an easy mode or something like that, and just cheat my way through it somewhat. Let's see, what more do we want? I just want more heavy hitters. One more victory and one daily quest is done.
Malfurion versus Azun.
Let's move on to the next article.
Protect the wild.
A lot of these articles are the exact same things I've already talked about, but I opened the tab multiple times. This is very surprising to me because I hadn't heard anything about this. Apparently, they are working on bringing out Wireless Protected Access 3 to bring stronger encryption and security to Wi-Fi routers in 2018. Now, my Wi-Fi router is a DDWRT router. That means I put custom firmware on it, and it's a pretty new one. It's the WRT 3200 ACM from Linksys, which has some such new elements in it that, like, even getting it to work properly for the first few months wasn't possible. It was actually rather frustrating. I bought too new of a router because the drivers hadn't been programmed right, and I still don't think they're really programmed that well. But I might get this Wireless Protected Access 3. It probably wouldn't. There's probably not a large hardware limiting factor to it, and WPA2 has been around for a while, and so an improved version would be nice. Like, WPA2 has been around for more than a decade. And see, the Wi-Fi Alliance, the standards body, along with Broadcom, Intel, Microsoft, Qualcomm, and several other tech companies as members, announced the next generation wireless security program, Wi-Fi Protected Access 3, which is WPA 3.
Unleash the beast.
Let's see. Kill this guy. Attack here. And have the standards been codified and voted on? Let's see. The updated standard can't arrive fast enough. Just last fall, there was a major vulnerability in WPA2, dubbed Crack Key Reinstallation Attack, that allows attackers to snoop on what is supposed to be encrypted traffic exchanged between computers and wireless access. Now, if you want true security, though, in all fairness, you're not going to go through the wireless ever, because it's just too high of a risk. Let's go ahead and kill this guy. WPA will protect against that exploit, along with others. The first draft outlines 4 new features, both personal and enterprise Wi-Fi networks. The Wi-Fi Alliance didn't go into great detail, but they did say 2 of the features will offer strong protection even when the user chooses weak passwords. How about we just stop letting users choose weak passwords? Could we not do it that way?
For the wild.
Let's see. It's going to use stronger 192-bit security, which the Wi-Fi Alliance says is in line with the commercial national security algorithm suite from the Community on National Security Systems, two organizations I haven't heard of.
Golems are a girl's best friend.
Retail devices supporting WPA3 are expected to arrive sometime this year, likely within the next few months. So I look forward to that. That would be crazy if I bought a new router when I recently just bought this one, and usually I keep routers for several years before I replace them. I am one damage short. Interesting. But everybody else, when you start seeing WPA routers, I'd say give it 6 months to see if you can get some reviews on how these routers work. Upgrading a router probably would be really good for you though. An ACM 1600, an ACM 3200 is more than enough. Like, my 3200 doesn't actually connect to anything at 3200 speeds. There's no devices, I think, even out there that would do that. But 1600 devices do exist, I think. You do want to be ACM though. You don't want to still be running a G or an N router. For speeds, you want to try to move all of your actions into the 5 gigahertz realm and get away from the 2.4 gigahertz realm. Play 20 minions that cost 5 or more. None of that was accomplished during that dungeon run. And see, that's the problem with doing dungeon runs. They are fun. That was a great bit of fun to do, but it doesn't get most of the daily quests done. So I need to come over here and make a deck. This custom druid here. Yeah, this custom druid has already been made. Good, I got lucky. Also have 4 cards I can turn into dust. And this is on my Asian account. That I have almost all the classic cards, or a significant amount of the classic cards, on my Asian account too. Alright, so we gotta come over here, and we'll play in wild, and we might as well play ranked. And go. What else are you really looking for in a router? Simplicity. If you want to do DDWRT, make sure that it's a supported router before you buy the router. Adjustable antennas can actually help you if you fiddle with it a lot more than a normal person would to see how the antennas are supposed to go.
I must protect.
My router has like gigabit connection ports on everything except for the WAN. It's unlikely you would need a gigabit Ethernet port on the WAN in the United States, because you're never going to get internet speed that fast. Mine has like an external SATA connector and USB connectors, and has a bunch of other features, which is nice, but at the end of the day most people won't use any of that. Something simple for most people is what needs to be done, but not so simple that you're giving all your control away to somebody else who could be doing poor security. One of the things that DDWRT allows you to do on the newer versions is have your DNS encrypted so that your internet service provider can't tell, or has a more difficult time telling what websites you're going to just by the DNS, the domain name. So when you type like www.google.com, that information is always unencrypted by default. So they know you're going to Google, but once you get to google.com, it usually forwards you over to an HTTPS google.com website, which all the information from that point is supposed to be encrypted. The problem is, if you're going to Netflix and you have Time Warner and they don't want you to go to Netflix, they could slow you down or try and block you just from the domain name lookups. Let's see. Particularly since net neutrality is sort of dead now. Reddit is getting in a huff that maybe enough senators will get together and bring back net neutrality, but we will see what happens there. Moving on to the next story. In an interesting twist, it was about a week ago that the Spanish government canceled and denied a grant for indie developers, indie video game developers. The Spanish government kind of known for not having a lot of money right now. So they canceled this grant, and I thought, oh well, that'll be the end of the story. It kind of makes sense. They don't have any funds right now to do that. I don't know of a lot of Spanish-based video game companies, which I guess is an argument that the grant should have stayed. Well, in a weird twist, they have now approved $7.8 million in a new grant, which was 3 times the size of the previous canceled grant. So maybe it was really just a budgetary thing. Maybe the people of Spain decided to rally for this grant. Companies from Spain, there's a company that made Crossing Souls and Rhyme and Sexy Brutale. The Red Strings Club. But that isn't a lot. That being said, the only, like, what are they, Swedish or Polish? CD Projekt Red, I think, is Polish, and that's the only Polish video game company I know, so I guess you really can't judge too much by the cover there. I totally misplayed here. I should have attacked with this guy first, attacked with this first, and then played this guy. But whatever. So I guess I'm good on the Spanish government for funding the development of more video games. I wish all the countries would give out more grants. It'd be nice if the United States government gave out grants for running YouTube channels. But that would only be very specifically helpful to me and other YouTubers. Let's go ahead and attack here. Let's see. Fire Emblem Heroes adds World of Dawn heroes, Makoth, Soth, and Zelgus. This is another one of those Gamatsu articles that is just a slight upgrade. Fire Emblem Heroes is a smartphone game anyway, so very few people are going to probably ever play it. So I lost there, but am I moving my quest forward? Yes, I have 16 more cards to play. Let's see. There's a Final Fantasy 30th anniversary exhibition that's going to include never before seen Final Fantasy VII Remake image boards. The exhibition, dubbed the Farewell Stories exhibition, is at the Mori Arts Center Gallery in Roppongi Hills, Tokyo. So if you can get to Roppongi Hills in Tokyo, between January 22nd and February 28th. You'll be able to see this exhibition. And maybe some people will report about it here too. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty laughable. Here, Gamma Sutra has a funny title here. Switch becomes the Dark Souls of Nintendo consoles with Dark Souls Remastered. They're memeing there. Let's see. Do this. Then do this. I know there was more announced at the Nintendo Direct Mini. Let's see. ZWii The Argus Adventure launches January 24th. Let's see. It will be available 10% discount. It's on the Steam page. Seems like it might be a PC only game. It will launch for PC on Steam, Good Old Games on the Humble Store January 24th, and no console release. Let's watch this trailer. That is really strange to have a PC only game come out. You don't see too much of that. Usually somebody can port it to something. ZWii is a Japanese RPG from what I understand. There's a lot of long-running ones that are just like, you have Final Fantasy, and then right below the Final Fantasy there's a second tier of long-running niche, but sorta niche RPGs, because I don't know how many people really want to play two different series of Japanese RPGs. This trailer looks nice, but it just looks like an intro to an anime. ZWii, this game is a top-down 16-bit animation style, I would say. I'm saying 16-bit because the scale of the scale in the number of pixels per character is higher than an 8-bit game. And it doesn't seem like it's a turn-based RPG. It seems like more of a live action things. And you can pick a pet to accompany you, and you have somebody following you throughout most of the game, it seems. And you run around. Let's see. Recruit a minion that costs 4 or less.
Join the guild. We have cookies.
I don't have any minions that cost 4 or less. There's also some arcade games in this on top of the fighting element. Alright, well, this is a game worth looking at, I think. At the very least. ZWii The Argus Adventure. It's probably a side story and not a main story. It boasts super deformed anime style characters. That's what they are when they're really, really small. They're called super deformed. When they look like little squished down characters. This and then this.
Now.
For the
Just kill
wild.
this guy. I'm gonna lose, but that's fine. Just need to play the cards. Well, I'm gonna keep an eye out for ZWii, but I don't know. Yeah, it's really hard to justify playing an RPG. Final Fantasy VII The Zodiac Age on PC will feature a new game plus and a new game minus mode. What in the world is a new game minus is the question. I guess maybe that would push me to play Final Fantasy VII over 13. Let's see. It supports up to 48:9 resolution ratios in the exploration section. 60 frames per second support, keyboard and mouse controls, and you'll need a fairly high-spec machine to take advantage of all of that to make the game to be played on a broad number of PCs. It also supports lower resolutions such as 720p, which is okay. No mod support, so okay. What is this new game minus thing though? Where in this article? Okay. Let's see. We've added several extra features such as the New Game Plus, playable from level 90, a New Game Minus in which you do not level up at all, available from the start, as well as a booster to set your guild and license boards to the maximum. We think this will allow players to dig even deeper into the game and make new discoveries in the massive world of Ivalance, which I assume is the, well, interesting. A new game minus concept. Play the whole game, don't level up. I suppose if the enemies don't level up in the same way you don't level up, then you're fine. Let's see. Hearthstone related. Hearthstone has another Choose Your Champion reward, so go to hearthstone.com or us.battle.net, wherever you want to go, and look under the esports tab. Maybe is where you'll find it. There should be an ad on your battle.net launcher, honestly, that tells you all about it. Choose Your Champions are, you pick somebody, and before they enter a esports tournament, and if they win you get more packs, but you usually get packs even if they lose immediately, so you're probably not too bad anyways. I chose the name that looked most recognizable, Frozen, F-R-0-Z-N, as my champion. The people you could have picked from were Hoage, Dogpond, Orange, Tom 60229, Muzzy, Jason, Zhao, Kanto, Samuel Sao, Surrender, Omega 00, Frozen, Niria, Shatanudachi, Ant, Shintobi, and Purple. Like, just a random assortment of names, and there's pictures of people too, and they're broken up in different groups. Also, I don't really get it all, but Frozen seemed the most recognizable, so that's the one I picked. If you follow the esports thing better than me, the esports scene better than I do, you might be able to figure out that there's something better. Somebody who would have been a better pick. Generally, I don't pay any attention to this. This is really shocking. Assassin's Creed Rogue is coming out as a remaster, aka Black Flag 2, for PC. So there's 2 more Assassin's Creed games I need to play, because there's Assassin's Creed Revelations, I believe, or have I even played the second in the Ezio trilogy? I may not have even played the second in the Ezio trilogy. I'm trying desperately to speed up that process and get caught up on the Assassin's Creed series. But yeah, there's several very long Assassin's Creed games I would have to play before I get to Black Flag 2. So it's strange that that was the point to remaster it. All the DLC missions and weapon packs will be included along with the new outfit. 4K support for PS4 and Xbox One. Maybe they just wanted to get another Assassin's Creed game out there on consoles because it's PS4 Pro and Xbox One. Like, seems really odd. Rogue remains a bit of an oddity in the series, according to this article. It was released at the same time as the unloved Assassin's Creed Unity on PS4. And I guess maybe that's the thing, is they're gonna try and remaster Unity. It's a sort of sequel to Black Flag, which has with some of the characters, and Black Flag was the big difference is you play it as a Templar instead of as an assassin. So maybe that's what's the reason. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't think they know what they're doing at Ubisoft to remaster that game. Maybe they've already remastered some of the older games, and that might be the reason. Or maybe they can't remaster some of the older games. And I still got a lot of Nintendo Direct and other news. Nintendo announced Mario Tennis Aces. So yeah, another Mario Tennis game. Nobody should have really been too surprised about that one.
I root and vine.
Let's see if we can kill one of our characters so we can play this. Just end our turn there. A lot of the games at the Nintendo Direct were ports. For instance, Donkey Kong Country 2 I believe is coming, and The World Ends With You is coming, and I think that was a PSP or a Vita game, so it's coming over to the Switch. There's a Kirby game coming, Kirby Star Allies. Let's see. I don't want to actually... the side-scroller Kirby game is coming out 16th of March. There's this other character. I can't place where this character is from, though. It's a Pokemon. Yeah, that's a Pokemon. So it's clearly it's not one of the original Pokemon. Otherwise, I would have recognized it. Wish somebody had written down just all of the information. Let's just skip. Let's just skip the Nintendo Direct since it's right here in front of me. But The World Ends With You. Pokemon Stadium, I think is some new Pokemon Stadium game. I think they had already announced that. We are so close to Pokemon Tournament DX. That was for Switch. Dragon Quest Builders, that's not a good game. Kirby.
Where? shall I strike?
Get behind me.
Yeah. A Smash Brothers, or no, this isn't Smash Brothers. This is one of those Dynasty Warriors games with Nintendo characters. It's coming up. Like, we have already said there's a ton of games for the Switch, and it's only gonna get bigger. And I think that's probably a good thing. Let's see. Luigi's Balloon World, which it seems like that's a expansion to Mario Odyssey. The SNK Girl Fighter game. And the Neo Geo Art of Fighters 2 is already available on the eShop. Let's see. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle introducing Donkey Kong. So is this a sequel to the Mario and Rabbids game? Payday 2. Yeah, Payday 2, no longer full microtransactions. I think people might like it now. Well, that was the Asian account. We did those daily quests. Let's switch over to the American account. I don't even think we're going to do a post-game show today at this rate. Maybe, maybe not. It depends. There were some victories I needed to get on the well, I kind of need to get it on the European account. Kind of don't.
You're back. Come tell us a story or two.
Celeste is coming to the Switch. Faye is coming into the Switch. And this Donkey Kong. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country 2. I was thinking that they needed to come out with a new Donkey Kong Country game. It's been a while. So, it's 50 Paladin class cards and 5 with the Druid and Hunter. Let's go ahead and open this pack. Come on, Legendary. Come on, Epic. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I imagine all 5 of those cards are going to be turned into dust. Yep. It's strange that I have anything marked new, but this game glitches so much that the new cards just never stop getting marked. And so I'm on my America's account. Let's see if we've got some friend requests. Yes, we do. There's 2 friend requests accepted. And Dark Souls Remastered. Let's now look again. Paladin class cards. Do we have any Paladin class cards? Do I want to keep that one? Or do I want to get rid of it? I'm gonna get rid of it. Let's see. Get rid of this. Make a new deck. Paladin in standard play. Even though I have enough cards to play in Wild on my main account here, I'm starting to go back to just making standard decks. Like, I don't have enough to succeed at Wild. So the whole point on this is simply to fill in my entire collection with as cheap as possible Paladin class cards. If I can get a victory, that'd be great, but it doesn't really matter. There. Just going for that 500 ranked victory wins, which I might get that in the next few months. Okay, so that was the entire Nintendo Direct in shorthand form. Some of that we'll come back to later on with more news. By the way, it seems like Resident Evil 4 is 13 years old now. I recently played The Evil Within, which was made by the creative director of Resident Evil 4, and I did not enjoy it as much as I did RE4. Sadly, RE4 doesn't run on my PC well, so I can't go back and celebrate that. I really kind of wish I could. Maybe when I get a new video card it will work better. There's a trailer for a game called Stellaris Apocalypse that will let you kill planets. It's coming sometime in early 2018. Stellaris is, I suspect, some kind of strategy RPG game.
Is someone injured?
Yeah, it's one of those Civilization style games, I think, where you run one of several species in the galaxy and let's see, adapt here. Death Rattle, Divine Shield, attack. In the turn. Yeah, trailer was nothing but flash. So no real date for Stellaris Apocalypse. That's one of those rock paper shotgun articles that's more of an advertisement than anything. Alright, I'm slowly working my way down here. The game Anamorphine has been delayed to late Q1 2018. I think I already mentioned that. Anamorphine is a crazy looking game that might be really good and might not be. Kind of hard to tell. It's a surreal adventure game. What is that? Yeah. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is coming to the Switch on May 4th, so we got some more details there. One would assume no need to actually to actually go back and play like the previous Donkey Kong Country game. I think you're fine where you are. Just to jump into this. Yeah, it says a beginner-friendly mode starring Funky Kong added. Interesting. So if you've never played one of those games, that's fine. Faye is February 16th. I think I already mentioned that. The February update of Mario Odyssey adds the Luigi Balloon World minigame and new snapshot filters and costumes. So good for that. Now I've finally found all the articles that want to actually put some information out there.
Reporting for duty.
The World Ends With You is the final remix. It's due out in 2018, and that's kind of all the information they have about it. The game features high definition visuals. The problem as a YouTuber who can't cover Nintendo stuff because they content ID and claim the copyright on everything, is I would love to play The World Ends With You, but if it doesn't come to PC, there's nothing I can do about it. It's just gonna be another game that is never played by me, never covered. There's a lot of those, and they're sad, but there's also so many other options of games to play. It's easy to kind of just move on with your life. There's a game called Zombie, Z-O-M-B-I-I, that was originally for the Wii, which was spelled W-I-I, that I have wanted to play for probably 7 years now, and I just recently bought it on the PC remaster version. It's not even that good of a game. I know it isn't going in, but I want to play it, and so now whenever I find the appropriate amount of time free, that's a game I'll make an effort to covering. Remember, all I need to do is play Paladin cards right now. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is already out for sale, and it has sold 500,000 units. That there's an apparent shortage of stock in Japan also, so it's doing pretty good. It gets into a weird position, certainly, where a lot of the a lot of games need 4 or 5, 6 million units to sell to even make profit if it's a major AAA game. Whereas if it's just a minor game, getting 500,000 units is amazingly helpful. It all kind of just depends on what the manager says is the minimum number of sales you need, and whether they have realistic expectations or not. There's a game called Planetoid Pioneers that's going to be leaving early access on February 8th. What kind of game is this? Let's watch the trailer. Yeah, it's a little shame. It's been roughly an hour and 10 minutes since anybody's talked in their chat, so I think I will probably wrap up, and we will have a post-game show when we're done with the news. Like, on my America's account, I can easily cheat to get the other daily quests done and just play myself. Or I could play fans if people wanted to send me friend requests to get victories. And then I need to get some victories on the European account. Or I could just ignore that European account challenge, which maybe I'll do that and just save myself some time. I need to schedule things on my channel. Again, it's never fun to have to schedule and do all the paperwork that is required to get videos to be labeled and just prepared to go out at the time they go out. So that'll be what I do after today, and then I need to, after scheduling, take a step back and evaluate what is the next game I need to play. I don't have a long list of games. I kind of pick and choose. This game, Planetoid Pioneers, doesn't look interesting at all. I'm saying a lot too. I am hearing that, yeah. I don't know how to fix it, but I am hearing myself go, and I hate when I get into these visual tics like that.
Will be purged. The battle. The battle.
I don't even know if I want to. I guess I will check out that game later on Steam and see if maybe there's something else. So we had talked about earlier this game, Sword Art Online, that brought back the concept of augmenting your pre-order, and they're trying to get people to pre-order Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet on Steam, kind of like a Kickstarter, and they're promising if we don't get enough pre-orders, you won't get the full amount of things that they are thinking about making. But they're not telling a specific name either, so a number of pre-orders. They're instead saying you're at like 5%, 10%, numbers that could easily be manipulated at any point.
Evil will be purged.
Let's do this again, one, and then this. Just continuously play cards. So it's really slimy, and frankly I don't know how many people really want to play Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet anyways. Fatal Bullet's better than the second season of Sword Art Online, but Sword Art Online is not the new hotness, and in Japan if an anime is not the new hotness, trying to sell a game isn't going to work. That's generally why anime games don't succeed that well, is because by the time the game can be made and made ready for sale, you've already done your 2 or 3 seasons of your show and people have moved on to the new thing. But in this story they put out some new visuals, and they're talking about some new functions. The first one is insane sounding. It's called co-sleeping events. Let's see. In Sword Art Online, the characters that you can co-sleep with are different in the main story in Kirito mode. By raising your affinity with your target character, you can enjoy co-sleeping to your heart's content. So, and then there's some pictures here of people in bed in their underwear, pajamas.
What would either do?
Not like full coverage pajamas. Underwear is the better description in this case.
To battle.
And it's just like single screen, so I don't know if there's any dialogue or conversation that happens during these events or if this is just ridiculous. Some new characters have been added. Angel, Klein, and Premier. All these are characters that I recognize from Sword Art Online, so they should have been there, and you should have assumed that they would have been there anyways. There's an area introduction. I don't know if it's worth even explaining Sword Art Online as a story. Suffice to say, people put on VR gear in the video game. So you're playing a game that's not VR for all I know. And they put on, but the characters put on VR gear and go into a different video game. And in this one, it's like a shooter tournament style game. It actually is kind of PUBG before PUBG, because this was written before PUBG. Come to think of it, and without spoiling a lot of other things, that's kind of all there is to it. And so it's not going to be a good version of PUBG. Probably it's probably not going to be a good game at all. It is worth pointing out that there was a kind of free-to-play first-person shooter game based on Ghost in the Shell that came out last year that really had no reason to fail and still failed, just because there's not a lot of attention to it and it wasn't that good. And the crossover there is just not going to happen. And you see it in anime movies too. It's like whenever they try to make an anime into a live action or a Western version, like Ghost in the Shell, the Western version it turns out pretty bad, and people really don't want it, and people really don't care. I think that you kind of can just say these things should stay in their lane It starts to make a little sense when you talk Dragon Ball Xenoverse, because all Dragon Ball is a fighting series, so converting that to a fighting game makes a little sense. But when you try to tell a story, you take away control of the player, and usually, or you telling a worse version of the story that the player has already seen in better formats. It is kind of awkward too here. If you're playing as the main character in Sword Art Online, there's only one character you would be co-sleeping with anyways. So maybe you're playing as a different character. Yeah, that doesn't fully make sense. That the main character in Sword Art Online, despite the story often pretending like other girls might have interest in him, is basically married and totally devoted to the one main female character. Moving on, 7,672 games hit Steam in 2017 alone, says Steam Spy. That is a ridiculous amount of games. In comparison, I think I covered about 140 games last year. So nobody's going to be able to play all these games. Fortunately, most of them are garbage. I guess we'd be in a worse position if it turned out most of those games were good. But it's just crazy, and Steam's gotta kind of put the brakes on some of this stuff. They need to rethink Steam Direct. They need to not just let so much things be put up there to the point where you're flooding the internet with games that have never even been played. A free-to-play game called Border Break has been announced for the PS4. It's a little strange that there's a free-to-play game coming out for the PS4, in my opinion. Let's see. It's due out in 2018, open beta set for February. It looks kind of like a mech game. Let's watch the trailer. I keep saying let's watch the trailer, but it's just me looking at it. It's from Sega, apparently. Or Sega's publishing it. So, if it's a Japanese mech game, which is what it looks like, that might explain why I haven't heard of it. Even though I try pretty hard to keep my ear to the ground from Japanese games, because they're constantly making Japanese games and releasing them, there's still a lot that surprise me. And of course, the problem with watching a Japanese trailer is that the trailer is mostly just an anime opening, and it really has no relation whatsoever to what the game is going to be. So I'm seeing a green-haired girl getting into a mech robot and launching a mech robot. These mechs apparently can go invisible, and they have big guns, and they're fighting some kind of green crystalline entity background. Well, now the background is green crystals, but there's these red mech robots that they're fighting in fast-paced hand-to-hand combat and gun fighting. It all looks really good right now, but the actual gameplay, you never know. Like, I'm not sure I saw even a small bit of gameplay in that. See, this is a new game, or a new series as far as I can tell, and getting somebody into a new series in the niche of mech battlers, it's going to be pretty difficult. The second half of the trailer started to show some actual gameplay footage. It looks fine. Has a lot of customization of your mix, customization of the characters, maybe slight visual novels in which characters communicate. If you're big into mech games, look for Border Break, but I imagine it will come and go. These free-to-play games do that a lot.
Reporting for duty. Reporting for duty.
Alright. And
Evil will be purged.
I have the opportunity to skip this article because this is just talking about a terrible movie that had a terrible video game in it, so there's no reason to actually mention that right now, so I'll save that for Monday. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has an article called Blunder Years Game Developers Talk About Their Biggest Mistakes. Let's see if we can see anything. Yeah, you might want to read that. It's several tweets, but I might read that later. But I'm not gonna read it now. There's some job listings I'm not gonna read right now. I'm trying to wrap up here. We've been going long enough. I'm on the Humble Bundle, and when I get to the Humble Bundle store, that's when I know that I've hit the end of the news articles I've opened. So the Hope for Orphans bundle is on right now. You would have to pay more than $7.27 to unlock the second tier. That's about all I really want to say about it. It's just to say that that's kind of a high for the second tier. A little bit higher than it normally would. Let's go back to Twitter and see. Apparently PAX South is happening right now. PAX South just tweeted that PAX South 2018 is 27% complete. They like to do that, give weird percentages. I don't know the real reason or rhyme to it. It seems like it's just silliness. So there might be some articles. The instigator of that fatal swatting in Kansas has been charged with involuntary manslaughter. So, from what I hear, he's wanted and guilty of several other things. So, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the book thrown at him and we don't hear from him, or he doesn't get out of jail for a very long time, if not life. It still doesn't resolve the issue in the United States where there seems to be a known way to say something to convince police to run in guns blazing and shoot people. And that should not be the case. Ever. Scroll down here.
You shinies.
Going through my Twitter feed to see if there's any news. Sega will announce a new game next week that could be the successor to Theme Hospital. Let's see what that is. I don't know what Theme Hospital is. The Evil Within #5 just went out on my channel. Let's see, moving on with the news. I'm scrolling down here and seeing a lot of just repeats, so I think we may be good. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, in case anybody's wondering, so we'll be back on Monday.
Reporting for duty.
This is taking a while. The original Xbox controller, known as the Duke, has been remade. I don't think it's actually being remade by a Microsoft though. I think it's like a Mad Catz clone. Why anybody would want to play with that controller, I don't know. It's probably worse than the Nintendo 64 controller, and that's a pretty bad one. Let's see, the game that is the next Yumi Nikki project, which is this cult hit game that I couldn't see why anybody liked it, but people seem to do like it, has been named. It's called Dream Diary. Abduction number 23 also aired recently on my channel.
Mind if I roll knee?
I wish Abduction was a better game, more complicated with more variety in the puzzles. From the being a game from the creators of Myst, they really kind of dumbed it down and simplified some things. Epic has a video teasing the next Fortnite Battle Royale update. Apparently it's going to be in a motel. A map in the motel is what I think they're teasing there. I suppose I'll just keep playing here until he either takes victory or whatever. He's got 2 more cards. I have 10 cards. So I could win just by default if he runs out of cards enough and fatigues himself to death. Alright, so that's it for the news. And nothing to really say about that one. I'm not... The new Duke controller will work with the Xbox One and PC. It will sell for $70, which is kind of high.
Lovely.
I'm trying to figure out what company actually is making it, though.
Which path to choose?
There's just this name of somebody named Samus Blakely, or Blackley.
I must act now. What would Uther do?
Maybe this is coming out via Microsoft. That would be crazy. Well, maybe the original Xbox controller is coming out via Microsoft. Looking at the trailer for Dream Diary, it's as crazy as the Yumi Nikki project, which was just a walking simulator, it seemed, via lucid dreaming. And it seems like they're continuing down that path. And I guess we can end on something political. I didn't want to do it till the end here, but Donald Trump at some point claimed that he had sold fictional Call of Duty jets to Norway. He said we sold F-52 fighters to Norway. He seems to have some kind of obsession with Norway and really love that country while hating quite a few others. And there's no F-52 fighters in reality, unless he just leaks some kind of classified information, and there's no way of confirming that. If you think for a second that he meant B-52s, we haven't made B-52 bombers in a long time either. So, like, there might be an F-22 out there. Let's see if maybe this article talks about what we are actually selling them. And it's not even us really selling them. Let's be realistic. It's the U.S. government allowing the war industrial complex to sell them. It's companies in the United States that make money off of the world being at war, selling vehicles of war to countries that they're allowed to sell them to. F-35 fighter jets. Let's see. Trump appeared to be reading directly from the script when he talks about the deal, so it's possible he read it. Or it's also possible that somebody actually typed it in wrong, if you want to give Trump more credit than most people would. Let's see. Norway has ordered 40 of the much troubled F-35 fighters and has another 12 lined up. So they ordered 52 F-35 fighters, and you could see the mistake there. Yeah. But odd, slight, very, very slight connection to video games. And I think that puts me right where I want to be to wrap up this and do a little bit of post-game play, just playing my secondary account.
Will be purged. That's not a valid target.
I still don't know what causes some people to get on the chat and some people not to. I'm not sure there really is an answer to that question. It seems to be all a little more random than anything, than I'll ever be able to figure it out. At a certain point, if my channel just grows and I have thousands and thousands of people watching every live stream, those concerns can't really be looked at or addressed, but as I'm right now still a very small YouTube channel, there's a lot to do. Alright. So I can cheat this easily by getting victories by playing my secondary account. So the only thing I need to do really in the post-game show, and I imagine I want to do it, is get some victories on this European account. I don't know how long I've been going. Looks like it might have been another hour and a half. I messed up my timer. It would have been telling me how long I've gone. Yeah, 2 more Shaman victories are needed here, and that'll be the focus on the post-game show, and then I will cheat the American account. Let's see if there was anything on the European account as far as friend requests. Nope. And I'll try and remember to look at the chat and friend the person with the Japanese name, but there's a chance I won't get around to it. Sorry. Like, you're gonna have to friend me if you have a name with Japanese characters or any non-English characters. That's it for the talking part. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.